Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and online coaching program, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. If you like the podcast, you're going to love my group coaching program. If you want to learn more about it, including the investment cost, what's included, see real client testimonials, and to sign up and enroll, please head over to irresistibleicing.com/course. That link can also be found in the show notes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hello if you're new. Welcome back again if you're an OG listener. We are in the thick of it, guys. We are right in the middle of the holiday season 2021. Thanksgiving is just a couple of days away. And there's a topic that comes up quite a bit that is around how to be present. So in the Irresistible You framework, that is part of my signature coaching program, and there's 5 guiding principles, right? And these 5 guiding principles are the things that we teach you and how to implement them and how to make them a part of your life so that you can become Irresistible You. One of those guiding principles, number 4, is be in the moment. And to be in the moment means to be present and to be mindful and to mindfully acknowledge that this is where you are right now. It's kind of like learning how to meet yourself where you are, not wasting time or daydreaming about where you wish you were, because that takes away from the current experience, right? And I think this is a good timing of the episode, especially, y'all know, as the holidays are coming around and you're having a lot more get-togethers and parties and situations with people that you may not, see all the time, and you might have anxieties around that. You might, not be where you want to be physically with your weight. So you have this like shame of being seen. And we want to talk about this, and I want to talk about it from this angle. So one of the questions that comes up is like, well, how can I be in the moment if I'm also focused on my future self, right? So we talk a lot about on the podcast and inside of my program about becoming the future version of yourself, which ultimately is learning how to become the Irresistible You version of you, and always putting the future version of you as a priority in the moment when it's so easy to give in to your old habits. It's so easy to just keep doing what you've always done, wearing your old raggedy wet blanket, even though it's making you feel miserable because it's comfortable. So the question becomes, how can I be in the moment if I'm also focused on becoming my future self? It's real simple, guys. It's really, really simple. Here's the answer, okay? The way that you become the future version of yourself is to be present in the current moment. The way that you stay present in the current moment is to also be thinking about your future version of yourself. I know that sounds like, wait, what? Yes, the way that we do it, the way that you step into the future version of you is to be mindfully in the moment, is to acknowledge where you are, is to meet yourself where you are. And here's where it gets twisted. And the non-irresistible you behavior looks like this, where it's like, I'm going to beat myself up because I haven't lost the 50 pounds. I told myself New Year's Eve I was going to lose. I can't wear the dress that I wanted to wear. I look so fat. I look gross. I can't believe people got to see me like this. Fill in the blanks of your inner fat bitch story. Okay. And so that because of that story and that dialogue going on in your head, what do? Sometimes you don't show up at all. You call out, you cancel, and you isolate, and you just don't even show up. Okay, that's one version of it. Or, you do show up, but you're not your body might be in the room, but your head and your emotions are somewhere else. It's almost like you disassociate in a sense. So it's like you're physically there, but all you're worried about is, oh my God, everybody's looking at me. I look so fat. I can't believe I'm here. What are people thinking? And so you don't show up in the full confident version of who you're supposed to be. You keep your head lower. You keep your shoulders hunched over. You don't speak up for yourself. You talk really low. And you're not showing up in your true full power. And when you do that, you're not in the moment. When you're doing that, you're obsessing and worrying and beating yourself up. And so you spend a lot of time not being present because you're worried about, well, I should have lost 50 pounds by now. Oh my God, what if this time next year, I'm going to lose all the weight? And you are so obsessed about the things you think you didn't do. And you're shooting all over yourself. You're having all the bad thoughts. All the inner fat bitch dialogue is in full effect. And that pulls you out of the current experience. And so I know there was a time for me in my life, I thought, well, if I don't obsess and beat myself up about my weight, I'm never going to be motivated to lose it. I mean, how many of us have had, I know I'm not alone in that, right? How many of us have told ourselves that lie? Where it's like, well, if I don't beat myself up and I accept myself, then I'm never going to want to change. That's not true. That's actually how you change. Because when you care enough about your life, when you care enough about yourself, and you have true compassion for yourself, then you want to do better for yourself. When you don't care about yourself, when you don't love yourself, all you're worried about doing is beating yourself up, thinking that's going to be the thing that's going to push you to where you want to go. And that is not true. And so to become your future self, part of becoming her is learning how to stay present in the moment. So people are like, how do you do that? How can I be in the moment, but I'm also worrying about the future? That's the key. We're not worrying about the future. We have an intentional plan. And part of that intentional plan is laying out, and we have tons of episodes on this, who do you want to be? What kind of woman do you want to become? And in order to become that version, that up-level 2.0 version of you, what do those behaviors look like? Because what you're doing right now with the inner fat bitch and the miserable wet blanket, all of that stuff is not allowing you to become her. It's keeping you stuck in the same yo-yo diet, body hate, shame cycle that you've been on your whole life. It's not working. So to work on becoming the future version of yourself, the future version of yourself needs to be a woman who doesn't beat herself up, who doesn't should all over herself. She needs to be someone who can acknowledge where she is and meet herself where she is. So what does that look like, right? I love to use this example in a lot of things where it's like, okay, let's say here we are, right? We're at the end of the year. We got Christmas parties coming up. We got all the reasons to wear our little sequin dresses, okay? And let's say you told yourself on New Year's Eve, you sat in front of that mirror and said, you fat bitch, I can't believe we're here again. I'm going to lose the weight this year. It's going to happen. This is my year. This is my year, right? Well, here we are, a week away from December, a month away from the new year, and you're not where you said you would be. Matter of fact, you might have gained some weight. Maybe you gained 20 pounds instead of losing the 60 pounds you told yourself you wanted to lose, right? And so that just creates this anger, this shame, this guilt, and this cycle of like just talking to yourself like a total piece of shit. And so because of that, it's like you start to pull yourself back. Go back to what I said earlier. So it's like, oh, you have this party coming up. Well, the vision that you had in your head of how you were going to show up didn't happen the way you thought it would happen. So number one, you're either going to just cancel and isolate, which is really bad, or you're going to go You're not going to have anything to wear. You're not going to be able to find anything to wear. You have the classic crying in the fitting room scene because you've waited till the last minute because you thought, oh, no. By that time, I'm going to be able to fit into, I'll be able to just walk in the store and buy something. Well, the party's tomorrow, okay? So when that happens, and I know we've all had that moment, myself included, where you just have to find something to wear because nothing is fitting your body the right way. Nothing looks good in your mind. You don't have time to order online. So you show up and you don't feel good because you don't think you look good. And it's all interconnected. It's all how we think about it, right? And so when you don't feel confident in your own skin, you create a bunch of stories about what everybody else is going to say and think about you. And in your head, you're going to walk in the room and everybody's going to be laughing and pointing and we create these elaborate, dramatic stories because it's how we think about ourselves. And when you think that low about yourself, you're going to automatically assume that's what everybody else is thinking, right? And so when you do that, the whole time you're at this party, you're not present. You're not living in the moment. You're not enjoying yourself. You're not having fun. You're not jumping in the pictures. Matter of fact, you're hiding from the pictures. You're hiding from people. You're sitting in the back of the room observing everybody else having a good time, feeling like there must be something I'm missing out on here. That is not living in the moment, right? And diet culture plays into this where we tell ourselves like, oh, like I can't really be present and eat the food and have the drinks because I'm on a diet. Because that's the other thing, right? When you have that dressing room moment, it's like, no, now I'm on the most restrictive diet on earth. And I'm not going to allow myself to eat anything tonight that tastes good. So that is you. So if you're sitting there wondering, how do I stay present if I also need to focus on the future? It's because you have that warped sense of what that means. And it's what I just described, right? It's not allowing yourself to be mindful because of how you feel and thinking that the only way to become a better version, to feel good, is to be on this restrictive, crazy diet, which means I can't have fun right now. That takes us back to, you guys, this stuff is like I'm like looking at my wall in here, and if I could just take a marker and a huge whiteboard and just map all of this out that I'm saying, it becomes this massive web of bullshit that we do to ourselves. And it's not just about how you look in the sequin dress. Matter of fact, that has very little to do with any of it. That's a very small portion of this whole puzzle. Feeds all into every facet of your life. Right? When you don't feel confident, you don't show up as someone who owns the room. Your shoulders are hunched over. You're looking at the floor. You don't speak with authority because you don't want to draw attention to yourself. And when you feel really big and overweight, when you feel that way, you're afraid to take up space. Even though, let me tell you, honey, you're taking up space. Your ass is still going to take up what it takes up. It's not but this is what we do, right? We pull our bodies in as tightly as we can. I remember, at one of my larger sizes, being on an airplane and feeling so humiliated if any of my hip or ass area or thighs would touch the person next to me. So I scrunch my body up so I am completely uncomfortable and almost shove myself into the window. And this is what it means, making yourself small. And you don't just make yourself small physically. You're also making yourself small by talking low, looking at the ground, shoulders hunched over, not trying to communicate or talk with anybody and trying to not socialize, and even isolation. All of those things make you really small. And you were not born to live on this planet to play it small. Playing it small you think in your head you're playing it safe. That's not safe. None of that is safe. Because what you're doing is you're wasting away your life, you're wasting away years, and you're wasting away memories that you're not going to get back. There is not another holiday season 2021. Just going to put that out there. So whoever you're still lucky enough to have in your life that has made it through another year, that may not be the case next year. Okay? So you need to really think about, how much time am I willing to waste hating myself? How much time am I willing to waste playing it small, not living in the moment? And by not living in the moment, it's because I'm telling myself everything will be different in the future. Well, nothing's going to be different in the future until you change who you are right now and meet yourself where you're at. Does that make sense? Nothing changes for the future until you can mindfully acknowledge and show up the way you are right now. And what that means is, you may not be at your goal weight. You may not be where you want to be in life on any level, right? It could be any number of things. If your body is not where you wanted it to be by now, it's still where it is right now, okay? And that is not going to change in the next couple days. So if you have a party to get to in a couple days, even a couple weeks even, you're not going to lose 60 pounds in a couple weeks, a couple days. That's just not going to happen. So what is the use of beating yourself up about it and trying to restrict yourself and punish yourself? I remember one time, it was like a vacation that was about to come up. And girl, I knew this was coming up for months, right? We always know. We act like it's a shock. And all of a sudden, I was so pissed off, so angry, because I didn't lose the weight. And I remember it being dark at night. It was late at night. And I just decided I'm going to go for a hardcore run. Number one, I'm not a runner, newsflash. Number two, I was the chubby kid in school who failed every presidential fitness test where it required running. So I don't know why all of a sudden, I'm going from sitting my ass on the couch every night to now I'm some kind of running a 5K around the neighborhood. This is the extreme, irrational things that we do because we can't fathom the thought of being with ourselves as we are in this present moment. Because we're obsessed about what we should be in the future. That is the difference. If I have a clear plan of who I want to be, what kind of woman I want to become, how I want to start showing up in the world, right? In order to be there and to become that version of me, the way that I get there is dictated by everything that I do today. It's just like you can't expect, and y'all, I might mess this up, I'm not a farmer, but you can't expect in the spring or the fall to have when they have a harvest, the fall, yes. You can't expect to have a harvest of fruits and vegetables and all this stuff you grow if you didn't do the work months ago to plant the seeds. It's the same thing with yourself. And are those seeds sitting there going, oh, I hate myself. I can't believe I'm not a pumpkin yet. When they haven't even had time to become a pumpkin. Okay? You cannot become your future self if you don't change your actions today. If you're sitting around wearing your wet blanket of misery, rolling around in it, watching TV, watching Netflix marathons, but yet you want to be athletic, you want to, look a certain type of way in your clothes, you want to get the weight off your body so you can feel better mentally, emotionally, physically, well, that's not going to just happen. So the way that you can be mindful while also looking towards the future is by showing up and meeting yourself where you are today. And saying, all right, you know what? I'm not where I want to be physically. You know what? I wanted to lose more weight, but I didn't. Tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself the truth. And I may not be where I'm at, but I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to, look cute. I'm still going to look beautiful. I'm going to look sexy. I'm going to wear the sequin dress. Because here's the other thing, guys. You don't have to lose weight to wear the sequins. Just saying. Okay? Like, you don't have to. You can wear sequins at any weight, at any size. It's all how you show up. And if you want to lose weight and you want to become a woman who feels confident in her own skin, then you have to start practicing how to do that today. And part of practicing how to do that is showing up to events and parties and things that you want to run away from. And I'm saying that when you want to run away from it because of this inner fat bitch dialogue. And the only way to get comfortable and confident is to start taking action. And that's why I said this is like a huge web, and why everything we talk about, everything that's in the framework is interconnected, and it just affects all the areas. So in order to be mindful and present, we also have to think about, who do we want to become? And if I want to become this type of woman, I need to put my head up high. I need to speak with authority. I need to command attention when I walk in a room. And I need to dress cute, look cute, and just, do me. Not worrying about what you think, or he thinks, or she thinks, or they think. Because you don't know what they're thinking. You're making up bullshit stories that may or may not even be true. But you convince yourself, oh, that's the truth. Yes, that's what everybody thinks. And let me tell you something. When you get right with yourself and you start to become who you should be, the version of yourself that you can become, that you deserve to become, when you make it right with yourself, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't give a shit what anybody else is thinking, because it doesn't matter, because you're unbreakable. When you build a solid foundation with yourself, I don't give a shit if you think I'm fat. Yeah, I am fat. And that's a thing that used to make me so shameful and hurt. And it's like, yeah, that's who I am. And that can't hurt me anymore. Right? So when you get right with yourself, it doesn't even matter what people say, because you know what the truth is. And like I've always said, if calling me fat is the only thing that you can say, I know I'm doing right. And that's not an insult to me anymore. Like, it's just not. So you got to get right with you. And the way to plan for your future is to be mindful right now. And the way to be mindful in the present is to think about who you want to become. So it's like I don't know what the right word would be here, but it like the cycles feed each other. If I want to become a woman who's confident in my own skin, then I have to do things today that take me out of my comfort zone, that give me an opportunity. Because if you're not even giving yourself the opportunity to practice how to be confident, how are you going to become confident? You're not going to become confident because you lose weight. Why not become confident on the way down the scale? So that when you get to wherever it is on that scale that you want to be, that part's already sealed. The extra weight loss is just icing on the cake, right? It's not like you have to lose the weight to wear the sequins, to be confident, to be beautiful. You can do all that right now. The only thing that is stopping you is yourself. The only thing within yourself that is stopping you is the bullshit lies, rules, and stories that you are creating. So it's time to ask yourself, what about this story that I'm creating is true? Because you believe it's true, I promise you it's not. It's not. So that's how you do it. And when you do that, it does not take away from the moment. If anything, it allows you to savor the moment. What takes away from the moment is when you beat yourself up and you stress out about, you're just so tightly wound that I just have to do this and keep my head down and restrict, and I'm going to lose these pounds. So then you don't allow yourself to be there. You're not all there. That is not mindfully showing up. That is not acknowledging where you are. That is not meeting yourself where you are. You know, another way to meet yourself where you are when we talk about this is like, okay, maybe you didn't lose the weight. Okay, so what? You still got to go somewhere. You still got to put the clothes on. And it's what I always say, like in the summertime or when the weather starts warming up and you got all the women who don't want to wear shorts. I didn't wear shorts for years, you guys. And then it just got to a point where I'm like, I'm hot. It's humid. I need a tan. Okay? Like, let's put the shorts on. Who gives a shit what the size is? Cut it out if you don't want to see it. But allow yourself to buy the size that's going to fit your body today. I promise you. And that's a great example of this where it's like, because you don't want to buy a certain size, you don't allow yourself to buy that item of clothing. And because you don't have that item of clothing, you're miserable. Whether it's, you know, a pair of shorts or a winter jacket. But if you would just buy the size that fits you, as in meeting yourself where you are today, not where you wish you could be 50 pounds from now. If you could meet yourself where you are right now, girl, you're going to look good. You're going to feel good. And when you do that, it brings out your confidence automatically. So why aren't you doing it? What are you waiting for? How much more time will you waste wishing and hoping you could be this, but yet your actions are not in line with that? You know, when we say we want to be confident and we want to, you know, wear the cute clothes and we want to be the life of the party, but then we're not doing anything that's in alignment with those wishes. And just saying, well, I'll just put my head down and, you know, once I get the weight off, I'll worry about that. Well, that's not going to happen. Why not do it now? Start taking the steps in the present moment, because that's how you become her. You cannot become that version of yourself 6 months from now if you're not doing anything about it. So who you are right now, how you show up, will determine who you're going to be in 6 months. So are you in alignment or are you out of whack? And it goes back to one of the most recent episodes. Are you about to get up or are you about to give up? Which one is it? Which one is it? Because that choice ultimately is up to you. And like I said, you are not put on this planet to be mediocre. You are not put on this planet to play it small. You are put on this planet to be fabulous. You are put on this planet to sparkle. And you are put on this planet to be irresistible. And it is time. It's time. If not now, when? When? All right. I could keep going, but I'm going to end it there. I hope this was helpful, guys. I love you. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy early holidays. I will be back with a new episode. If you want to chat, if you want to follow up, if you want to comment, if you want to share anything about this episode, let's do that in the free Facebook group. And you can also help me out by leaving a rating and review on iTunes. That allows other women to find our great community and to get the podcast and think about when you found the podcast and how it helped you. Think about how you could give that back to someone else. So leaving that rating and review, sharing this podcast with a friend, sharing it on social media, sharing it on Instagram. If you do share on Instagram, tag me at Irresistible Icing. I love you guys. I will catch you in the next episode. Until then, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.